Okay, we'll get started.
There
Just
we
a reminder, just as a reminder to everybody, this is being recorded and will be posted so others can view it. So please keep the conversation and the discussion to the agenda and not other items that are off topic, unless we have a reason to go in a different direction. But for the time being, we'll stick with the agenda. And with that said, we'll open the meeting at 7:06. Jeff, I'm sorry. Are you taking notes? Hopefully you are. You got it. Perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you. So welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone had a good summer, as best as you possibly can, given all that was going on. And there's been a lot happening throughout town. And, as reported by the packet that we got, all the things that the library's been doing. So we'll jump into all of that and answer questions from anybody that may have it. So open the meeting at 7:07 is what I have, or 7:06. And could I have a motion to accept the secretary's report?
So moved.
Okay, Amy, and second?
Second.
Chris, all right. All those, okay. Any discussion? I had one under budget. I wasn't sure what the second, where it says under RUMS projected. Page 3, sorry.
Yeah, underruns means we weren't going
Underruns.
to expend the entire budget. So that
Okay.
that personnel and utilities were going to come in under budget, and that money would go back to the town. I was anticipating that, and that is what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there an M in there?
Oh, that's what it is.
Under
An M instead of an
Under.
N.
It has nothing to do with rum.
Rum.
No.
Oh, okay.
That was my question.
Okay, I'll fix it. Yep.
Sounded like a 30 proof rum. It's under rummed.
Under RUMmed. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? Going once. Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. Chris?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Cindy? Give you the hand wave. That's all right.
Yeah.
Adam?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And Tim?
Aye.
All right. Can I get a motion now so that motion passes? No one opposed. Next item is acceptance of the monthly staff reports. Can I have a motion to accept the monthly staff reports?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All right, Tim. And discussion. Was there, Catherine, was there any damage or cost for the AC unit condensation leaks or the motor? I'm sure there was a cost to the motor repair, but was there any damage or anything?
No, mostly
No,
because Dave caught it quickly, both times. It were things that happened when he was there and saw it. And he fixes stuff himself. So there was nothing that had to, I think maybe we bought a motor, and that just came out of the regular HVAC budget. It was not an excessive amount of money.
Do we get an alert? Is there an alert system on it? Like if the thing starts to leak or something?
There are for some things. There are for things like in the treasure room, because that door is closed and locked and you're never really in there.
Yeah.
There's an alarm in there. And the alarm system does have areas. It won't tell you exactly, but it will tell you. There are 2 different alarm systems. It doesn't cover every single thing, but it covers a lot.
Okay.
With the microburst that we had, the mini hurricane, it sounds like we escaped the worst of it. But I know sometimes the roof leaks. Did we see any issues with that weather event?
Not at that event, which is, you know, you can never tell when you're going to get a leak, because we had a perfectly fine day and there was a leak in tech services that I had never seen before. And it had something to do with something wasn't draining properly. So he just cleaned out the spot where it would drain, and then everything was fine.
Great.
Yeah, so we've been pretty lucky.
So Catherine, am I reading correctly that the new website is all done now?
They're working on it now.
Okay.
So it should be done by the end of the month, and then there'll be more stuff for us to do. Jeff is going to be in reference is going to be managing that, so he'll be working with the developer on how to update it, any extra things that we want, or things that we might want to change. But I think it should go pretty smoothly because we were pretty well set with what we knew we wanted. It's just a matter of transferring that.
I have some questions on the operating budget for Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the fiscal year 20 operating budget, we went way over in professional services. Did we have something special that you weren't expecting?
I spent a lot in professional services because I knew that I would have the money. Part of that is I knew that we were going to come in under on utilities. So I knew that there was money there.
Okay.
So one of the things that I put into professional services was some of the fees for the website development, which we had originally thought was going to come from state aid. Because I had this money, I put some of that toward that.
Okay. And telephone, has our bill for telephone service gone up?
No, it's because, and I wanted that number to be there so that we would see what the cost overrun was. That is it's called Nextiva, and it's what the reference department is using to take those calls remotely, because there's no way to transfer the library phone to the reference staff. So they all have a single number, and they are able to schedule who's responsible for the ring at any given time, and they're using their cell phones. So the company's called Nextiva, and we pay it monthly, and that goes into the COVID reimbursement fund thing. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. So the town is going to get the money back. I won't necessarily get that back. But in some cases I might. I think it depends on what kind of funding it is. And I think what would happen is if I get it back, it's going to go right back into the same account it came out of. So I'm trying to keep all the COVID things in the same accounts.
Okay.
And what they're for. So that's telephone. So that's why I wanted it there.
Okay. Did we, okay, moving on to gifts and grants state aid. When I read that for the June 16th, 2020 report, when I read that, I'm confused because on the state aid for 26 and 27, it looks like you've encumbered funds when there was no available balance to encumber against.
Yeah, that's because that's kind of how that evolved.
Was that supposed to
After I looked at it, I thought, oh, that's not right.
Should that be on a different line?
No, it's because when we started the RFID project, I was actually using money from 2016.
Okay.
So that's originally where I had put that encumbrance number. So really what's valuable is the totals at the bottom. we've encumbered 43,000 of
Okay.
124,000.
Okay.
Can you tell me where you are? What page number?
Oh, I'm sorry, 23.
23.
23. Okay,
24.
that's what I thought. All right, 23.
Oh, okay, well, come to agenda. Okay.
Yep.
And then equipment maintenance office for warrant 12 for September 22nd. You're way up. I imagine there's something that you're getting done now because the library is mostly closed under purchase of services.
It's because that includes the flow tech. Now, what do you call that? There's an annual fee for to manage the printers,
Okay,
and so you pay that fee up front,
right,
and
so
then
it goes off the budget.
it manages it. Yeah, so I'm not going to have to pay it again. It was paid up front,
Okay.
and I think it's like $2,000.
All right. At the bottom, under capital outlay,
Mm-hmm.
#divs/0 exclamation mark.
It's a formula, and the formula isn't valid because there's nothing in the prior cells.
Okay,
So because the appropriation in the expended amount gives you a balance, that's a formula. That's why those little zeros pop up there.
yeah.
And then that balance is converted to the percent expended, and
So
that's
do we have,
that's the formula
so
for
do
it.
we have no capital outlay money, or was it just not plugged in?
Nobody has any capital outlay money right now.
Oh, okay,
The town did not fund capital due to COVID. That's how no budgets were necessarily cut. They did not fund capital. So that's going to be discussed, I believe, at town meeting, at the November town meeting.
so we didn't actually get that $50,000 budget cut?
That's well, it depends on how you want to call it, if you want to call it a cut or not. We adjusted the budget before it was approved, so technically it's not a cut. We did not put in for Sunday because we knew we weren't going to have Sundays, and
Okay.
and it's personal services. There's nothing else I can do with that money. So because they could use that someplace else, I willingly surrendered that. And it's also very easy to say, remember we gave up Sunday? Because everybody loves Sunday. So all things being equal, I would be able to get that back.
But in essence, we have two cuts to our budget so far, one being no capital outlay money, and the second being the Sundays.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And keep in mind, nobody in town got capital.
Right, so far.
And other departments did cut back at the time that I reduced by that 50,000 that was Sundays.
Right,
Every other department, DPW readjusted, and police readjusted.
okay.
How much do we give back?
Give back?
In other words, at the end of fiscal,
Oh.
right? In other words, because we didn't use all of our, is it 25,000 or
A
something?
lot. We gave back a lot.
I thought it was like 25. Was it? Am I reading it right? 25 something? 25,000 or no?
Yes, it was 25.3.
Okay.
We
25.
gave
Oh
back-
no, and it was more than
No.
that.
It was
Because-
almost 75 in personal services.
Yeah, we gave back 75,000 in personal services.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Cindy.
75,000
That's okay, that was last of my questions.
from the
Thank you.
FY20 budget, or 75,000 from the FY21 budget?
The last one. It's the one that's, so the reason we give that back is because we didn't need it. So there was turnover, and we didn't need it, so.
So Catherine, just to be clear, so our budget allocation this year was $50,000 less than it was last year, and we didn't spend $75,000 of our budget allocation last year. So really, our budget is going up $25,000 this year from what we used last year. That's probably the most confusing way to put it. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably not really. You have to look at the personal services section of the budget and compare it from one year to the next. And when you look at it, each person who's replaced are next to one another, so you can see the differences in what each person you're saving. So we have savings from turnover that over time will level off. We'll be back up again. And we build the budget by reducing that $50,000 in Sunday. When I'm pulling the budget forward for the next year and working off those numbers, I'm not losing anything, because the Sunday was a fixed amount, and you put the Sunday back in and that's what you're going to get. And you take the Sunday out, you still have everything else that you need for the 6 days a week. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so you guys don't have any concerns about the budget for this year. The only thing would be that if miraculously in January we could reopen, we would have to go back and kind of advocate for Sundays, right? But we don't believe that's going to happen at this point. But
right, if we really wanted Sundays back, we would have to advocate for Sundays.
Okay. But other than that, there's no concerns about the budget for the year.
Not at this point, for assuming that nobody takes anything back from this. You know, if the state funds everything and they don't have to cut in any way, which is, I have not heard anything, and I don't anticipate that. It's just more likely that we wouldn't get capital, or that we may be asked next year, depending on what comes through for taxes and what's coming through from the state. There are probably going to be reductions for next year. And so that might be something that we end up having to make decisions about.
Have they said anything about do we currently have all positions filled? that are vacant?
There's only one that's open now,
Okay,
but the hours are all in the budget.
okay. You haven't been told by anybody that you cannot fill an open position if it becomes.
No, and in fact we have, because Nancy Sheehan
Yes,
retired.
right. No, I know, which I'm surprised that they haven't. So in terms of forecasting, there's been nothing from the.
No, because
from Steve to say.
No, because I didn't have to ask for anything extra. That money is in the budget. And in fact, the new people who came in started at a lower rate.
Correct, right.
Nancy has been here for 20 years, so she's at the top of the scale.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of reduction there.
Yeah, and are there going to be union increases that's already been built in as well, I assume?
Say it again, the contractual increases.
Contractual increases, yeah.
There's only one, there are two contracts at the library, and one of them was already settled and I have the numbers for. And the librarian's contract is up in July, so they need a new contract. So I don't actually know what their numbers are going to be.
Okay.
So changing subjects a little bit, I just would love to kind of hear you and Jackie's feedback on how you guys think the remote check-in side door service is working.
We were talking about it today. Well, Jackie can tell you her experience because she's like done it on the floor. We hear from lots of people. When you look at the numbers, they aren't high numbers of people. There are not masses of people who are using this service, but the people who do use it really cherish it. And we've had a lot of good response from people at Reference who have had phone calls and have been helping people, navigate how it's working. Everybody is really kind, and people love their books. They like a hard copy, and they feel comfortable with the arrangement. I've spoken to, in particular, 2 women who were older women who really wanted to come and do it, but were a little frightened, and they wanted to know how it worked. And then they agreed, they were going to do it. They were going to come. So it's very labor intensive for something that I think I'll never look at circulation the same way again. I mean, to let people come in and pick a book and check it out, and they just, you think you had a busy day. You haven't had a busy day until you have to go and get the book and put it in a bag and leave it in the corner for, 5 days or whatever it is, and track all of that. Jackie can probably tell you better, because I'm still not 100% sure how they get everyone's. This is the mystery to me. If you order several things, they get everything in the same bag at the same time. So you pick up one thing, and some of those things are not ordered at the same time. So how they track how it comes in and how they get this, what they call the pull list, when that list of stuff gets pulled. And it's also now including all the books that are coming from other libraries. So those are in boxes that are delivered. Those are all there. And then there's all the books that are in the building. It's
Yes. So I'll tell you, as a user, it's been great. It's been a great experience. And I'm one of those problem people who, the day that we're going to pick up or the night before we're going to pick up, somebody says, "Oh, can you add this to it?" And I'm amazed every time when I go and pick up the bag. The thing that I added like 4 hours ago was in the bag. And we're getting stuff from every library across the North Shore, and we get the emails and stuff. But as a user, it's been great. We've gotten the kids' books and we've gotten DVDs. We've gotten a lot of stuff through it, and it's been super smooth. And it's through the Acibet that works really well, and it's been great. And I can't say enough how it's been super smooth from the user perspective. So I just didn't know if it was like chaos behind the scenes there to make sure it all worked, right?
A little bit.
I think part of
a
what
lot.
makes it, less chaotic and more labor intensive is that there aren't that many people doing it. It's 5. There are 5. Yeah, there are 5 people doing that. So that's not a lot of people. It's labor intensive for that small group. Yeah.
Are you caught up now? There's some backlog. Are you caught up with the backlog?
Yes.
I think so,
Yeah, I think when we initially loaded the pull list, when we were able to start pulling for to send to other libraries, I think it was 800 or 900 items long. So it's like that's several days work. I think now you will often come in on a Monday and it will be 19 pages. That's a morning if you're good, if you're really good at it. One day I came in and Dave was doing it because
Dave will do it.
He just likes to help out.
Yeah, Stephanie.
But it is good to
Stephanie
do it. We try and do it really early. We do it multiple times a day, but we try and do it really early. Because then we can get stuff that people added the night before into their bags. But it's hugely labor intensive, but I think we've gotten to a good place. We're able to serve 80 people a day right now doing that. And we do the spots. We don't ever not fill a slot in a day. And often we go over. So
it is being used. People seem to like it.
How long do people have to wait to get a pickup spot? Because when I did it weeks ago, I had to wait like 5 days for a pickup appointment.
We upped we were doing 15 people per slot at that point, and we upped it to 20. Usually you can get it either the same day or the next day.
Oh, okay. Because for me, I was really disappointed that I had to wait that long. I mean, it was 5 days. I'm like, what's going on? And I could see in the doors, and I could see, carts of stuff that were labeled with, if it's Monday, carts are labeled for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I thought,
Well, it probably matters too whether or not the item you wanted was in the building.
Yes.
Or if it
at that point, it was only items in the library at BB you could request.
Yes, Cindy, my experience is that early when it first started, you had to wait a while, but now you can get an appointment for the next day or 2 days from then.
Right. I've picked up from Linfield the same day, just in the past week. So I was wondering.
We can, depending on the day of the week, certain days of the week are just more open. Usually Monday, you're able to pretty much do it same day. Mondays are our slowest day for pickups,
Okay.
but they still pretty much always fill up. There are, I mean, huge delays on everything just in general. At any given moment we have, because we have to quarantine everything for 5 days, we will have 20, like last time I was in, we had 28 delivery bins, 10 cube trucks full of returns, and then 3 more book drop bins full of, so thousands and thousands and thousands of items in the reference room just waiting to be checked in and handled.
Are you quarantining things that are coming from interlibrary loan?
Everything gets quarantined for 5 days. Everything that enters the building.
Okay.
That seems to be the statewide number too. People are going with 5 days or 7 days. Mostly because it works with your workflow.
Okay.
If you've got people in the building 5 days a week, you might as well just do it for a week. So I think the standards were between 5 and 7 days.
Are you getting good support from the MBLC or from Noble in sort of trying to navigate some of this stuff?
I think Noble is incredible. I would be willing to bet they're the best region to be in. They're just so helpful. And if you want any help with anything, we can call them and they'll give us their 2 cents. They're really good.
Okay.
MBLC doesn't really, they're not going to take the place of the governor. So they just kind of reiterate what the governor has said, and they have support services there are people you can contact directly, and they will help you maybe work through things, but they're not setting any policies or rules necessarily.
Mhm. And on the COVID reimbursement that you'd mentioned earlier, are you keeping a running tab? Like, have you submitted already?
Yeah, I have to keep track of all of the, I'm getting feedback. I have to keep track of all of the invoices, and we don't have as many as the other departments have a lot. So my numbers go to the DPW and he includes them.
Okay. What's the number now? Do you know approximately? Of
I don't,
reimbursement that we're
off the
receiving?
top of my head, I don't know. It's mostly the PPE supplies. That was a lot early on, but it's not so much now. It seems to be people have their own masks. They have ways of doing things. We got a lot of stockpiles of stuff, so I haven't had to reorder those. But the bags are an expense, and the the stuff to manage the service, those are the things that are costing the most. The bags, and what else were we needing that I was thinking of? We had to buy all those bins, the giant bins.
Okay.
But we're saving on toilet paper. All those things are not being used.
Right.
I do try to put everything in the same line item now.
Yeah.
So if it's audited, we'll only have one place to go.
How was the?
Sorry, Karen.
Oh, go ahead, go Laura.
I was just going to ask, just in general, how staff are feeling, and how, now that you've had a few months of this rhythm of the schedule, is that working for everyone, or?
I think so. Today we had the staff meeting, the all staff meeting this morning, and what I opted to do, there wasn't anything for the agenda, so I said, let's walk through what happens at circulation so that everybody can listen to how you do it, because maybe if we're outside of it looking in, we might see something a little different that maybe in your routine you're not catching or whatever, because you do the same thing over and over. You might not notice that there might be a better way to do something. And for the most part, they didn't come up with anything, but it did help that there were some people who were not aware of certain things that happened to circulation, they didn't know that. So it kind of, everybody's on the same page. I don't know if it gets any easier. I think everybody at the library is like everybody in town. You're up and down. You have good days, and then you just really wish you could let somebody in, or we'll be working, and I'll realize I'm too close to someone. I really should. We all have masks and everything, but I'll realize as we start talking, you lose track of how you really need to be safe. So same as everywhere else, I think.
How are you doing wearing a mask all day working?
When you have glasses, it's lousy.
I
Yeah. Are you always breathing in it there?
Yes. Yeah, I've been staggering around in a fog half the time.
I do get I don't wear it as much because I'm not, like today, I was home all day because I had meetings this morning. We had these two, I had lunch, and so I just worked from home the whole day and didn't wear a mask all day. So, but like the people who are in the building, they're all day, 5 days a week. I don't know, is that hard?
Is there an in your own office protocol or is everyone out in open space kind of? How's that?
There are a few of us that, there are a couple of us that are in our own space so that you could move it or you wouldn't necessarily. I'm thinking there's one person who is often alone and she's right by a window. And I noticed she wears it almost all. I mean, it's almost more of a bother to take it up and down. So I think a lot of people are just leaving it on.
So Catherine, is everybody back at work, or are some people working at home strictly, or is it,
more people are in the building, but it's only circulation and the custodians are the only ones who are in, all their hours are in.
okay.
But everybody else, most of their hours are out. The youth room staff have been going in a lot now, and there aren't that many people working downstairs, so they work around when there'll only be a couple of people at a time. They're cleaning out offices and doing work on the collection. They're moving books and they're doing all kinds of things down there. So they just plan. Everybody has to know when it's a turn to go in so that there's not a lot of people at the same time. But people want to go in, you
Right.
want to do it.
So do you have a cutoff of how many people are supposed to be there?
Yeah, I think it's 8 per
1,000 square feet.
1,000 square feet. It's hard for us because we move around.
Yeah.
Dave is going to be all over the building, and then the people who are getting books are all over the building, and they're not necessarily following a path of arrows. They're walking in all different directions. So we want to be on the fewer side,
Right.
rather than the more.
Okay.
And the office space, they couldn't all be at their desks.
Right.
Their desks are all together, so they just need to be separated. But it does, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. So you just kind of always have to be alert to it, that it's possible to be airborne, and everybody has a first life. You don't know where they were, so.
Still strange.
It is strange. It's very strange.
Are people outside? I saw the Wi-Fi numbers of how many connections to the Wi-Fi. So are there a lot of people hanging out on the plaza and around?
I don't see lots of people, but I frequently see people out there, and I see people there when I drive by. And in the morning before we're open, I sometimes see people on the plaza drinking coffee, and they have a phone or whatever, and I think they sit and use it there.
Is the furniture out there?
Is there what?
Is the table and chairs, are they still outside? Oh.
Yeah. Not the, umbrellas, but the tables and chairs were, and then we spaced them apart.
Did you have the census
Yeah, Saturday.
event? Yeah, how was it?
Yeah, they got 10 people.
10. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Who
Who knew what was going to happen with that?
Yeah.
I,
Did library staff sit out there to do it?
it referenced two reference librarians. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the idea was we promote that, you know, libraries promote the census, and they will support you with a $2,000 grant for equipment. So it all happened pretty suddenly. I think initially the money there was not that much, and only a few libraries actually got the grant. And then they got an influx of money. Apparently it was from Facebook. And they contacted Jackie and said, you had applied and were denied, but we have this now. So if you can do it in 10 minutes, we'll send you a check. So,
Congratulations.
so we
Nice
pretty
work,
much
Jackie.
figured out how to do it. Some of the equipment, we had to do it so quickly that some of the equipment we don't have yet. But all of it will be used by patrons. So that's good.
Comments? We're still on the acceptance of monthly staff reports.
I don't hear you, Kevin.
Can't hear you, Kevin.
Your volume's low.
Sometimes my this thing. Hold on one second. I'll try getting back in.
So Catherine, while we're waiting, just tell the circulation that I at least appreciate all the work they're putting in, because it gives my children new books to read, and they're bored of all the books we have. So.
Really? Yeah, I'm so glad it works. And really, all of you should send us messages when you have an experience, or if there's something because we're, you know, that you need to know. So if you have any experience, send that information, and we can, particularly if something goes wrong. That's, you know, the only, you're going to keep doing it wrong unless you know it's happening. So. Yeah,
You guys hear me now or no?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Okay. Okay. Any other comments, discussion on acceptance of the monthly staff reports? Going once, going twice? No? Okay, so all those in favor, I'll go around the room. Say aye. Chris?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Cindy? Okay. Adam?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
All right. That's the ayes have it. No one opposed. The motion carries. Public participation. I don't see anybody it's dialed in other than the group here. Correspondence. I didn't see any in the packet. Correspondence.
Just, I guess you could call it correspondence. There's a memo from Town Hall
Oh, yeah.
announcing town meeting is on November 7th.
Yep. Okay. And that's going to be at the high school?
Field House, yeah.
Okay. Committee reports. We already went through budget. Is there anything more we need to talk about on budget? Anybody have any
think so.
questions about budget? Okay. Building and grounds.
I have a question for you guys. Do you want me to pick up the sign project again? Do you want to pursue that?
Where was that coming out of, that money? Was that coming out of capital or something else? I
It was
forget.
going to be a mix. My recollection is when I talked to Catherine, it was going to be a mix of some stuff. There was some, you know, some gift funds and also maybe capital. Am I right about that, Catherine?
Yeah, we thought, we don't have the capital anymore, but we thought we might have masonry capital.
Right.
And Dave did work on the masonry. So the masonry section's pretty good, but the rest of it, the front of it needs work. And of course the insert itself would be the big cost.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, I certainly could still pursue it. I kind of dropped the ball a little bit, but I thought it was kind of dead because of what was going on. So I can pick it up again and we at least confirm up numbers and options. I'll pursue it that way then. And then we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Because I did start it and we did, have measurements done and I had a local bat and sign work up something. So I could reinstitute that and at least start with that.
Okay.
yeah, I think so.
Is that something you guys want? I'll do it. I don't mind doing it. I'll be back in town on a regular basis pretty soon.
Tim, is that for the digital sign or
Yeah.
just the case?
No, doing the message board sign. And if we can afford it, pursue it. If not, we go to a stagnant sign. But one way or the other, we really should do something about it. It's because it doesn't really work the way it is.
Yeah.
We could
So
certainly
if we can
afford
do,
it-
go ahead.
Well, we could certainly afford it with gift funds. We have unrestricted gift funds that have a balance of $221,000.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
the sign, looks so bad, empty out there right now. I think it would be a good boost to get that completed and have some signs, even if they're just like positive signs for the community. It would be good to show that.
Bright light for downtown.
Not too
Well,
bright,
let
though.
me-
Not too bright.
Not
What?
too bright.
Only so many lumens.
And it can't
all right.
be bright every 60 seconds, right? It has to be.
Right.
No. Let me pick it up again and for the October meeting, I should have
Because
some good info for you guys.
at the very least, the door that attaches to the front of it that has plexiglass in it, at the very least, that needs to be replaced.
Right, I get that.
Yeah, because that is not, I'm afraid to open it like the whole thing's going to fall off. Dave does
Right.
it. He knows what the deal is with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it needs repair one way or the other. So even if we were going to put posters in it, the front of it needs to be fixed.
All right, I'll pick it up and I'll report back in October and I'll go over it with, offline with Catherine and probably Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I mean, if we can't get anything done for whatever reason, between now and the end of the calendar year, do we need to do anything right now just to kind of like duct tape it and kind of like spitball it to survive the winter?
No, that's the state it's in now.
Okay,
but it's just you can't keep putting stuff in there. You can't move it constantly. You kind of have to put something in there and leave it there for 6 months.
Okay.
I think it would be nice to have something lit downtown, especially now that it's getting dark earlier by the 2nd.
Right.
It will get a lot of attention because there's not a lot else around.
Right now.
It's also with the digital sign, it's funny because thinking about this, part of me thought the optics of investing in something like that might not come off right with, budgets being strapped everywhere. But it's good, Cindy, thank you for pointing out that it'd be coming from gift money. That's
Lots of money in gift money. We could spend, $10,000 or whatever it takes to get that done.
But I think there is also like a plus side to it because it will be such a better way to communicate with people some of the things that are happening and where I know it's just for people driving by or the foot traffic, but still when the library's closed, it's to have that as like a really visible way to communicate with people in the area, I think will be really valuable.
I think it would be a wonderful asset to have that and show some life and have some communication. And
Mhm.
And the communication is part of our action plan right now to improve messaging and communication. So it does fit in with what we're trying to do.
Okay, I'll pick it up and I'll report back in October with some details.
Okay, good.
Okay. Thanks, Tim.
Did we already vote to do that? Have
We
already
did.
voted?
We
Okay.
did. I believe we took a vote last,
To look
probably,
into it, yeah.
yeah, and to direct, to get some
That was in
quotes
the
and things like that.
spring or something, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, but and I think the issue came down to too is like, we weren't going to go as far as the design of it yet because there were some questions about how bright it could be, what type it would be. Is it going to be, a static sign, a dynamic sign, all sorts of questions about that. But I think we're just going to get some quotes to figure out, what
Well,
what was our going to be our.
Isn't part of that on Batten Brothers? Wouldn't they have some insight as to what the community requires sign-wise?
They do.
yeah.
They do, and I've discussed that with actually Richard Batten, and he's got some options. But the other thing is we got to make sure that everything else is feasible, that it does work, physically works, where it is and it fits, and a few other things. I know it sounds simple, but we're trying to make
it's
it.
not simple.
Wiring.
We're trying to make it work within that structure, and that's kind of that's what makes it a little more difficult because we're trying to adapt it to something that's existing, okay, as opposed to just removing the whole thing and putting up something.
Retrofitting is always way more difficult
Right.
than building new. But
Yeah.
So that's what when I talk about feasibility, we've got to make sure that it's worth doing it, and so I'll have that in. I'll be able to have that information by October.
Okay.
Fabulous.
And
Thank you.
I'll include all of the gift fund information with any restrictions and things like that so that we know what we're working with.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Tim.
Yep.
Friends, I saw the report. Was it Chris that went to the last meeting?
I went to the September meeting.
Oh, September. You did, Laura. Okay.
It was Laura. That was the last meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dean, Catherine, and Jackie were there as well. I think the takeaways that I have from that, first of all, was the group seemed very engaged, and we've talked about them having a lot of new members, many more members. I think different from when I had been at the meeting less than a year ago. So they seem pretty energized. I think they're still kind of working out some of the transitional things, but they had a lot of things on the agenda. The number of renewals was down, and that was mostly due to a mishap with sending the membership notice that usually goes out in August through the gas and light department. There was just a miscommunication there with the folks at WMGLD. So they're working on getting that out in when the next bills go out. They have designated a day to accept book drive donations. I think that's for October 17th. I don't think that's been publicized yet, but they're working out all the logistics of that. And you probably all saw the emails as well, but they're gearing up to do some honey sales as well. So it was a very positive meeting, I thought. It seemed like folks were very engaged, and so that was good.
Okay. Thank you. Tim, you're on board for the next meeting, October 1st. Are you able to make that one?
Yeah, I'll plan on it.
Okay. If not, Amy's your backup. You just want to let her know.
Okay.
As of for now.
Okay. Thank you. Gift funds, anything further on that, Cindy?
I have nothing further.
Okay. Legislative advocacy.
I have nothing there.
Okay. Personnel. So we have I got a meeting invite for Monday. Just want to so we have a meeting Monday.
So we're having a.
Well, you won't have that meeting Monday unless the agenda gets posted, and they need an agenda. What's it gonna?
Catherine, I'll send that when we finish this meeting. I just
Oh,
saw that
okay.
email.
Okay.
I didn't realize that. I'll send it tonight.
We didn't realize it either. I actually thought it was posted. Stephanie and I both thought it was posted, and Sherry sent me a message today and said it wasn't. That the Zoom part was, but without an agenda, it didn't get posted.
But yeah, I can get it in by tomorrow morning and it'll get posted,
Perfect.
right?
Perfect,
All
yeah.
right. So yeah, the plan, I'm sorry, Kevin, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, Monday, we got a personnel meeting posted. It will be posted. And we're planning a meeting at 7:00 Monday night. All are invited, but it's just a subcommittee meeting. That's myself, Amy, Susan, and Chris.
Okay.
Um,
Does any of this go into executive session at all or no?
Well, I was actually going to ask that question. So I was going to ask that of you, or if you knew,
I don't
and if
think
Catherine knew.
I think it
Because
does.
I
a
think
lot of times personnel discussions, you do it in executive session.
right.
Let me
So
let me look at the rule again. And you can maybe ask Tom Mullen too if you want, Catherine or Jackie if you want to shoot him a quick email. But let's assume he says yes. How do you do that on Zoom?
I have no.
I
I had a
think,
hard time. I had a hard time getting in this meeting. So how do you think this is going to work?
yeah, I think we would have to ask Sherry how
Okay.
to do. I know it can be done because the school department does it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's probably still recorded. Because executive session minutes are eventually released.
Correct.
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 So
I assume you would just go into a breakout room.
you
I-
probably,
that's
Someone
what-
needs,
yeah.
that's
someone
what
needs
I'm-
to be able to set it up.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
guessing too. You go into a breakout room and then just come out of it. But someone will have to be able to navigate to do that.
Yeah, it's
All right.
usually at the bottom of the screen, and I'm looking at this screen, I don't see one.
Unless you're the host, are you the, I don't think you,
No, I am.
yeah, I don't think you can see it if you don't have the host.
Do you see
privileges.
breakout rooms at the bottom of the screen?
They also have to be enabled.
Oh.
There's multiple settings that have to be turned on to be able to see them.
Yeah.
So that might be a Sherry question.
Is that meeting on the 28th just for members of the personnel committee or?
As far as I know, it can be any trustee, but the subcommittee is meeting, and we'll discuss it, but anybody can watch, any of the trustees can be part of the meeting. As far as
And
I
is
know, right, Kevin?
Correct. Yeah,
Um,
you can be part of the meeting. I don't know if you're not a member of the subcommittee, you shouldn't vote, I wouldn't think.
Yeah,
as
you wouldn't
as a
vote.
subcommittee member until it's brought to the full board for the full board to vote on a recommendation of the subcommittee. But you can certainly participate, and to the extent that the chair of the subcommittee recognizes someone to participate, they can participate. And as board members, we can participate.
So Catherine, can I check with you in the morning about that, what you might find from Sherry?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay. New business, phased service plan updates.
We sort of just did that.
Yeah.
Talking about the phased service plans. We are always thinking and watching what other people are doing, and thinking about, is there a way to let people in the building? Because there are people who want to do it. Nobody wants to do it unless it's going to be safe. And what are the pros and cons? And what I'm hearing from Linfield, who does let people into the building, and a few other libraries that have done it, it's a definite trade-off. There's only so much staff, and it's very labor intensive. So if you were going to let people into the building, you would do that probably at the expense of the side door service. You wouldn't be able to do as much of that as you would. There'd have to be a balance. So we're sort of just looking at how we can do more safely, and whether or not it's worth it. We are looking at loaning Chromebooks and hotspots, everything takes longer than you think it's going to be. I mean, we think we can do this in a week, and everything drags on and on. The software alone that Jackie and I have looked at in the last 3 months is just making my head spin. Like, no more software. I don't want to look at any more software, because you're looking at all these things to try to make things easy, and then you realize it's not going to work for you. And everything has a limited lifespan too. So there are no real updates other than that we're constantly looking at it. And the thing that we also don't want to do is we don't want to take any steps forward that mean we have to step back. So places that opened and then had to close, you don't want to offer something that you have to take away. You want to be able to offer it and then continue to offer it. So, we're hoping that there's going to be a next step, but we're also hearing that there may be some changes in the amount of the infection rate, and so maybe we'll wait and see what that brings, what the fall brings. But if any of you hear from anybody, refer them to me. I talk to people freely, and I want to hear what they have to say. Dave spoke with somebody who said something to the effect that the library was closed because the director wouldn't let anyone in. And and he gallantly came to my defense and said, it's not her fault. So anybody who has a question, I will talk to anybody and try to explain it the best I can. And if you have any ideas, we're always willing to listen. Things that people need, we'll try to do it any which way we can. But right now, I'm surprised how people really just enjoy a library book. They really want a book. And the fact that I don't know how many of you see the online stuff that they're doing, that the youth room is doing all kinds of really great stuff that's curriculum based. Amanda has a new baby at home, and so she's home with her new baby doing baby story times. And she's teaching other new mothers how you do a baby story time. And it's great because she's got the perfect prop, and she's able to do it from home. So they're doing some really useful things. Holly is back, and she's our science whiz, and she's into all kinds of things. She's into music and art and all kinds of things. And they're taking their show on the road. So that's been working really well. So we're moving forward, not a lot of changes, but we're always thinking ahead and seeing what might be possible.
Yeah, I was excited to see Casey bring back the middle school book club. I've been asking for that since Sadie moved to Galvin, and she did go to the first month, and that was really awesome. And then the grab bags that they're doing, I think is great. They're doing like craft grab bags and book ones, I think, or craft book combos.
Some kind of theme.
Yeah, I think they're really thinking outside the box with, the whole side door service and what they can do. I think with kids, especially, like Adam said, they burn through books so quickly that to be able to just say, here's a bag, let that last you for a few days.
Yeah. I think to be personalities too, for the kids to be comfortable with them where they're not with them in the building, be able to have a personality. And, Casey cooks in her new home and the ceiling is all ripped out and it's, it's so funny. Yeah, they're doing well.
I'm sorry, I got my internet kicked out for a little bit, but I wanted to just commend you when you said about being cautious about opening up too fast and then having to take that away from people, because I think that is a big concern. It's like steady and slow. In this case, I think wins the race. And just and is that mindset of like letting people in would be at the expense of something else too. And I think that people might not make that connection right away. They might think they'd be making the process faster if they went in, but it wouldn't be that. And then I will say too, I've been, in terms of feedback, I've been limiting my social media intake overall, but I have been checking Instagram, and I don't know who does all the graphics for the library for Instagram, but I think it's all been just really just so engaging. Like it's been very thoughtful and very timely with current events. I just wanted to commend whoever is curating all that, because that's not an easy task. But
That Bridget who, that's Reference, and Bridget at Reference coordinates that. And she'll sometimes ask for help with different things that she's doing, that she'll ask people to contribute. And just about everybody does, which is great. You know, she sends something out and everyone will contribute to it.
How much more capacity for a side door do you have? Like if you had twice as many people using the side door service, would that be overwhelming, or would that you'd be able to do it?
We're pretty much at capacity. It takes a good 45 minutes to get every pickup ready. So if we have 4 hours a day, we're already up to 8 hours to kind of for each hour to get ready. And we can, we're also unfortunately limited by the size of that vestibule. We cannot fit a larger table in and out easily. And we have to have the returns bin in there as well because of weather. So the table is pretty much at capacity. The only possibility would be a fourth slot on Saturday. But we have even fewer staff on Friday, on Fridays and Saturdays. So it would be very tight.
Okay. You have libraries not certified is the next item.
This I think I put it in here only because I wanted everyone to kind of be prepared for it, just in case the eventuality happens. I came to the library in 2000, and then in 2003, between 2003 and 2008, there were problems in the economy, and there were several libraries that were not certified, and Saugus was one of them. And I went to a meeting with Sharon. She had the whole staff together, and she said, you know, Saugus isn't going to be certified. What do you think we should do about serving Saugus patrons? And most of us at the table were, you know, oh yeah, poor Saugus. We want to, you know, we want to serve them. We want to serve everyone. And so she walked us through, what does that mean? What does that mean to Wakefield patrons, that you're serving someone who's not working to meet the criteria of certification? Because certification is designed to level the playing field. And if you're part of a group that all contributes to the same service, you all should be on a level playing field. So as it turns out, it's not in anyone's best interest to serve patrons of libraries that are not certified. And if you yourself are not certified, you often don't want other library systems to serve your patrons, because it's the only way that the people in your town understand that they have a responsibility as part of a larger group to support their town library. So at that time, the board, and it was March 2004, the Board of Trustees put together a policy that was shortly after that at the reference desk and at the circulation desk. And we did not serve patrons of libraries that were not certified. They could use the building and they could use things, but they couldn't check anything out. And if there were limits to like story times or anything, they would be the last to get in. So I put the policy here just so that you would have it to read. And I run through that little story because in the event that someone is not certified, as of this point, I don't know of anyone. There are a few libraries that let all their staff go, except for 1 or 2 people. And I don't know if they did that. I don't know how they can be certified, because that decimates their budget, and that's part of certification. So if they aren't, that's what we would probably do, that we would follow this policy. So you have it, and if you have any questions, we can walk through it, but it's kind of
Yeah,
just that.
I remember when this came up, and I distinctly remember the conversation that we had about whether we should do it or not do it. And I think we all came to the consensus, as policy dictates, is that we should not. There was something about too, I remember, like, they're not, if you become decertified, you're not able to use the interlibrary service too, right? The exchange, right? And yeah, because they're not contributing to that either, and to service that and to keep that problem. And so by allowing them to use our library, they're getting access to services that really the town of Wakefield citizens are paying for, that, you know, their town decided not to for whatever reason. And we really shouldn't be encouraging that. As difficult of a choice that is, and you know, people come to say, how can you be so cruel, and you know, of not helping your fellow communities, and that why is that a good public service, and how you being a good neighbor and things like that. And but there was a, you know, I think there are good policy reasons why we wouldn't do that. And you know, again, we can come back and revisit it if it comes up again, and if it turns out that you know because we're sort of this weird place right now, and that we may want to revisit it at some point. I think it's a good thing to bring up. But I do remember the discussion. It was really when towns were going through some really difficult times that we decided that we wouldn't do it. And
Right.
I don't think we got any pushback from it.
No, I think
remember.
most surrounding towns also don't
Yeah.
do it. And the Board of Library Commissioners pretty much recommends that's how you handle it. Because you can get a waiver. If you
Right.
are not certified, you have really abdicated all responsibility for your library. You have not tried at all. And so the standards that they want you to meet are things like no disproportional cut, which makes such a big difference when you're trying to come back from an economic crisis. If you've been disproportionately cut, it takes you, 3 times as long as everybody else to get back to where you want to be. So by having all these things in place, it's really in the best interest of all the libraries involved and library service across the state. So that's why we do it. Even though initially the response seems harsh. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems harsh, but it's also harsh to cut funding in that way.
Yeah.
And cut it off at a time usually when even more people need it.
Correct. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Maybe there's any questions about that? Comments? No? Okay. Any other matters that anybody that wasn't reasonably anticipated that they want to bring up?
Do we need to vote on that policy or no?
No, it's already a policy that's in place. Yeah, it's just more for FYI, and take a look at it. Again, it's something that if it becomes an issue as town budgets become really pressed over the next, most likely FY22, it may be an issue that we may want to revisit and talk about a little bit more extensively. But
right, it's just mostly a heads up at this point
Yeah.
that we've been here before, and this is the
We're not
history of it.
To it, just a reminder.
Yeah.
Right.
How long did it take them to get recertified, if you recall?
I want to say 3 years.
it was a while. Yeah.
It takes a while to come back because you have to meet numbers that you've gone so low. Working back up to it takes a long time.
They had a lot of internal problems.
Yeah,
as I recall, Saugus did.
I think at that time they did.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is October 28th, and we'll get the packets out a few days before the meeting, so you'll get an email from Catherine or from the library with all the attachments and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And personnel, we'll see people Monday, actually. people that want to join Monday.
I was just going to
Laura.
ask about the community initiative that
Oh, yeah.
was into the packet. That all
Yeah.
that looked great.
That's a competitive grant. And I'll admit on a recorded meeting that I have submitted grants like this and been denied and thought that they were really good and been told this is a really good plan, but you know, they're competitive. Not everybody gets them. And this one is, the people who reviewed it were very, very interested to know what was going to happen and how it was going to work, because they liked it so much. It's really well thought out and doable. It's so doable. So,
Yeah, it's exciting.
yeah.
I agree. All right.
Real quick, but my dogs are barking in the background. I did want to acknowledge that today is our secretary's birthday. So
Oh, really?
Jeff.
I think he's 29 again. He's muted. I don't know.
All right. Happy birthday, Jeff.
Yeah, my
birthday.
15th annual 29th birthday.
All right.
Put that in the minutes.
Yes. In perpetuity. Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Cindy, second?
Second.
All right. Around the room. Chris.
All in favor?
Okay. Susan.
Yes.
Amy.
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Adam.
Yes.
All right. Motion carries. No opposition. The meeting is adjourned at 8:16. Thanks, everybody, again. And thanks, Catherine and Jackie, for all the good work you've been doing. And tell the staff that we really appreciate all the hard work they've been doing as well.
Yep, great work.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Bye-bye.